Hello, good evening, welcome to the programme.
Yes, coming up tonight, fresh heartache for the family of a 5-year-old boy who died 8 days after he was sent home from hospital as his inquest begins.
The owner of an animal therapy farm near Scunthorpe appeals for information after 12 of her pets were stolen.
Bradford prepares for one of its most significant local elections in decades.
I've been travelling around the district finding out what's on the minds of the floating voters.
And if you've been feeling the effects of the pollen a little earlier this year, Kerry has the reason why that might be.
Good evening. The family of a 5-year-old boy who died 8 days after he was sent home from A&E at Rotherham General Hospital face further delays as they try to discover why he died.
Yusuf Nazir died in Sheffield Children's Hospital and his family had hoped the start of an inquest into his death today would provide them with some answers. There have been 2 independent investigations into the care and treatment that Yusuf received, but today there was further frustration for his family. Martin Fisher reports.
Arriving at Sheffield Coroner's Court today, the family of 5-year-old Yusuf Nazir. Since his death in 2022, they've been fighting to get the truth as to why the youngster died. Despite lengthy investigations, they said they were still looking for answers as to why he lost his life.
It's very, very tough for us because we're really reliving it every day. We're going through all statements, we're reliving everything every time. So every time we try to put something to a little bit of a side, it's coming back again, and it'll never ever come out of our minds and it'll never ever leave us.
Yusuf was taken to Rotherham General Hospital with tonsillitis. After a 6-hour wait to be seen, he was sent home with antibiotics, but his condition worsened and he was ultimately admitted to Sheffield Children's Hospital. He died 5 days later after developing pneumonia. Reports into his death found multiple agencies had been involved in contributing to fragmented and disjointed care.
For us, every night we sleep, we don't know how our child's died, and ultimately, when you don't know how your child's died, it's going to be sticking with you all the time. So for us, we just want to know the answers.
Well, any hopes the family had of getting the answers they've so longed for were dashed very early on in today's inquest, before even any evidence was heard, when it emerged that a blood sample of Yusuf's was still in existence at a facility in Leeds, and this opened the possibility of genetic testing on that sample to establish whether he had any pre-existing conditions, which might explain why he didn't respond to treatment.
It all should have been realistically been done when Yusuf unfortunately passed away. Now, nearly 4 years down the line, they're wanting to do tests and see if Yusuf had any conditions.
The inquest was adjourned to a date to be fixed, leaving Yusuf's family still waiting for the answers they've so been longing for. Martin Fisher, ITV News in Sheffield.
A father who died in a hit-and-run incident in Doncaster has been described as kind and beautiful by his family. 26-year-old Najib Maksoudi was hit by a car on Princess Street on Friday night. He died later in hospital. Earlier today, 31-year-old Stefan Wheeler appeared at Doncaster Crown Court facing several charges including murder, dangerous driving and driving while disqualified. He's due to appear at Doncaster Crown Court again tomorrow. A 22-year-old man, also arrested on suspicion of murder, remains in police custody.
A man who punched and kicked his partner in North Yorkshire so hard that it caused a bleed to the surface of her brain and lasting health problems has been jailed. Peter Sowerby, who previously lived in Hawes, attacked his partner in August 2021 following a night out with friends. The injuries were so severe that the victim still has seizures and is in constant pain. Sowerby has been jailed for 5 years and 6 months after being found guilty of grievous bodily harm.
The owner of an animal therapy farm near Scunthorpe is appealing for information after 12 of her pets were stolen.
The site at Messingham offers visits for people with special educational needs, but they say they are distraught after sheep and turkeys were stolen. The police are now investigating, as Matt Price reports.
Julia Stewart cannot understand why thieves would steal something so precious and so personal from her farm in Messingham. 8 sheep and 4 turkeys have been taken from the site near Scunthorpe, and it's left the family devastated.
I just can't get my head round the fact that they've been on here, they've took my animals would have gone to them. But yeah, the feelings you have for the people that have taken them, it's overwhelming me at the moment.
The farm offers visits for people with special educational needs. The pets here all have their own names and play a key part in that therapy.
When people touch the sheep, they realise that their coats are different, the different textures, and it wasn't just educating people on sheep, it was just the fact that it just gave people peace. I am a believer in animal therapy and what benefits animals give to people.
Julia has been working this land for the last 2 years. She's reported the theft to the Humberside Police Rural Task Force. In a statement, they say inquiries remain ongoing to determine the circumstances and identify those involved. We would ask anyone with information, including CCTV footage, to please contact us. The family want the culprits catching to prevent further upset elsewhere. It's the not knowing what has happened to her pets that hurts Julia the most. Matt Price, ITV News in Messingham near Scunthorpe.
Such a sad story. Let's hope that they do get returned. I'm sure they could be. Still to come on the programme tonight.
I'll have all the weekend sports and we'll look ahead to the War of the Roses as Leeds United go and take on Manchester United.
And we've gone from sunshine to shower clouds again today, but a slightly different flavour to our weather over the next few days. I'll let you know what's in store in the forecast.
Now, Bradford has only just stepped out of the limelight as City of Culture, but it's now centre stage again as one of its most significant local elections in decades fast approaches.
Yeah, the city and its surrounding towns have been run by a Labour council for the best part of 45 years. But this year, with Labour only holding a majority by 1 seat, all 90 councillors are up for re-election, and by all accounts, anything could happen.
Indeed. Well, our reporter Katie Oscroft has been on a tour around the district to find out what matters to people. She's down there on that canal boat, on that barge somewhere, and it sounds like that you're seeking out some floating voters, Katie.
Exactly that, Ian. Yeah, I'm on the Leeds-Liverpool Canal as it wends its way through these historic former textile mills in Saltaire. In fact, back in the day, this boat would not have been taking me for a ride. It would have been transporting goods to and from these mills. Looking in the other direction, well, you pass through rural Bingley and then the more urban conurbations in Keighley. It really is a snapshot of the many faces of Bradford. This really is a peaceful and calm way to travel. You can hear the engine, I'm right by the engine, chugging through the water here. There are many ways to travel in Bradford and there are many sounds to this city too. Supercharged engines shatter the calm in Denholm. This is the Bradford Modified Club and these are their pride and joy.
We love them, they're works of art, we love working on them, we love making them into things that we enjoy driving.
But there are strong views on other modes of transport in one of the country's worst connected cities.
You definitely need a car even to go to the local supermarket. It's 1.2 miles away. We're not connected. Okay, not everybody has to drive a 2.6 twin turbo, but we do need a public transport.
Because I'm interested in cars, definitely we pay an awful amount on road tax, so there's potholes absolutely everywhere.
We're not very well connected, the public transport's a bit slow, it's not very reliable, so I tend to need a car to get around really. I don't normally get too involved, but I think it's getting more and more important not to waste a vote now.
A short drive away and more promises not to waste a vote. This is Shipley and its spruced up centre with its dilapidated 1960s clock, a symbol of the difficult times below it in the indoor market, where Pearl is weighing up her options.
It is a struggle. Footfall, it's less and less since COVID. All your regulars, not all of them returned. Shops closing in the centre.
And with Labour's grip on the council hanging by a thread, Graham hopes whoever gains power this time will do something about that.
They need to manage it more like a business. You know, if we managed in that way, we wouldn't be here. They tend to not target money where it should be going to. You know, you need to create wealth, which is businesses.
There are plenty of those in Haworth, but the streets which once witnessed the Industrial Revolution may be thronged with tourists, but not necessarily paved with gold.
We do get a lot of visitors, but people don't always have money to spend, so volume of people doesn't mean volume of sales.
Diane wants less drama and more considered decisions from whoever forms the new council.
Tourist information would be fantastic in Haworth. We used to have one that was taken away as a saving, but actually people come here and visit, so come to the tourist information, learn all about what's going on in Bradford. We get people from all over the world in Haworth.
We were touted as one of the jewels in the crown of Bradford when they were going for the City of Culture. Didn't see anything come back to us in terms of them helping us as villagers keep a place running and keeping it tidy, dealing with traffic and dealing with potholes and dealing with street cleaning and bin emptying and things like that.
And to add to that list, back in the centre of what is one of the youngest cities in the country, questions over whether the older generation are being looked after.
This is a time that they need to be looked after by the state or by the local authorities. So I believe the council should look into this sector and should make sure that the funding, the staffing are very adequate for the people that are vulnerable and that need the support.
Back under the bonnet, these car enthusiasts say to fix these turbulent times, politicians need to work together.
I think it's better than division. The same with our car shows. We bring people together that can be from all different colours, background, races, but we're there for one thing.
With elections around the next corner, it will be a challenging road ahead.
Yes, and you said there, Katie, a challenging time ahead. Bradford's clearly made up of diverse communities with different priorities. So what could the makeup of the council look like after these elections?
Well, Lara, you heard at the end of my report there that rallying cry for people to work together in Bradford, and the members of that car club might have a point, because at the end of these local elections we could quite well see that there is no party with overall control, and perhaps a good number of independent councillors too. Now, the experts say, well, that's not a problem, that can work, but the fact that all 90 seats are up for grabs at once might be an issue.
I think the challenge will be is that there are going to be a large number of new councillors coming into local authorities across the region who are inexperienced, and also that some of the political parties that are being brought into government don't really have an experience of consensus building. And those two issues could see political stalemate start to affect decision making.
Well, as I've been touring around this district, sadly not always in the style to which I am today, people have been really interested in the local elections. They've seen their council tax rise and they say, well, they want to vote on where their money that they're paying is going. But there are most definitely many people still making up their minds. They're not as wedded to a party as they are in the general election. So yes, as you said, there are lots and lots of floating voters.
Katie Oscroft live on a canal boat. You just enjoy the rest of your trip, thank you.
Sailing off into the sunset. Right, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Let's find out what's on the programme. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the programme, the Southport Public Inquiry finds the killer was an extreme danger and his attack on a children's dance class could and should have been prevented. America's blockade begins at the Strait of Hormuz after peace talks between the US and Iran ended without a deal. And Northern Ireland's Rory McIlroy makes history in Augusta as he retains his Masters title. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Next tonight, a charity promoting safe motorcycling to young people in North Yorkshire is celebrating the donation of bikes to replace the ones that were stolen from them some 4 months ago.
The Richmond Area Motorcycle Project, or RAMP, appealed on Calendar for support following the break-in to get back on track after the theft in January. Well, today volunteers received the generous donation from a former world champion biker, no less. Sally Simpson went along.
Up and running. The RAMP project hit a stumbling block in January when it was the victim of the theft of all its bikes and much of its gear. But today, teenagers who take part in the volunteer-led scheme to teach them riding skills and put them on the right track were back at the centre in Catterick, fully equipped. And handing over the replacement bikes, 3 times world champion Dave Thorpe, who answered the appeal when he heard about their plight via ITV News.
Honda contacted me. Obviously they'd seen your piece on the TV, which was great, and they were looking at ways of supporting it. If you look what they do, everything they do with the kids, it's a great asset for the area really, because to teach the kids to ride bikes is a lifetime skill. It's great fun, keeps them off the street, and it gives them an interest, so I think it's a great opportunity for everyone involved.
Chloe is the lead volunteer here. She says the generosity they've seen is nothing short of incredible. Chloe, so soon after you made your appeal on ITV News, you're now back up and running with lots of donations. Tell me what you've got.
So we've been kindly donated a bunch of jackets. We've got some trousers in here, some brand new boots, some brand new helmets. So we've been given a whole lot of kit from head to toe. That was kindly donated from MMT Training in Darlington. We're sort of back up on our feet and ready to rock and roll as such.
And as well as all the kit, of course, you've had the donation of all these fantastic bikes, which is what this is all about.
Yeah. The main part we've got now, and I'm excited for the adventures. We had to sort of keep it quiet to start with, and then when I was eventually able to tell people, it felt real. It was just like the dream has come back.
I was thinking it's going to take a couple more years of like charity and saving and to get just 1 or 2 bikes back, but getting 3 back is awesome.
And with 24-hour security, there can be many more years of awesome fun to come in the future. Sally Simpson, ITV News, Catterick.
That's such good news, isn't it?
It's great news. Brilliant.
Yeah, we like that. Well, it's time for a bit of sport. Arif joins us in the studio. What have you got for us?
Well, Lara, it's the War of the Roses tonight as Leeds United head over the Pennines to take on old rivals Manchester United.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, the final game of the weekend sees 2 old rivals go head-to-head. Leeds, as we can see on the table there, are in 15th place, 3 points clear of the relegation zone with 7 games left to play. So a result at Old Trafford tonight will go a long way in securing their Premier League status. But having not beaten the Red Devils in the league for over 20 years, head coach Daniel Farke says they want to take the success from the FA Cup into tonight's game.
We wanted to have these games on a top level, and of course it's a very, very difficult task to travel to Old Trafford in order to win the points there. But we also know wherever we go, if we are there at our top performance level, then we have a chance. And of course we want also to grab the chance with both hands also Monday night.
Well, to the weekend's action, and Sheffield United put an end to their winless run with a comeback victory over Hull. Well, it was an unhappy return to Bramall Lane for 2 former Blades. John Lundstrom, who spent 4 years at the club, was sent off for this challenge, turning the game in United's favour. And after putting the Tigers ahead, another former Blade, Ollie McBurney, gave away a penalty, which allowed United to equalise, and they made their man advantage count as Danny Ings scored the winner late on. And despite drawing at leaders Coventry, Sheffield Wednesday set a new unwanted record by going 37 league games now without a win. In League One, Rotherham United manager Lee Clark says some of his players gave up in their defeat to Barnsley. The Millers are staring relegation to League Two in the face, which could be confirmed with another defeat tomorrow night. Despite only arriving a few weeks ago, Clark didn't hold back in his criticism of his players' performances in their 3-1 defeat at the New York Stadium.
I've got to give a heartfelt apology to our loyal fans, everybody involved with the football club behind the scenes. You shouldn't be losing derby games in the manner that we did. Second half, I've seen a lot of players giving up, and that's a disgrace, really. Not acceptable.
Well, elsewhere in League One, Bradford City stay in third despite losing to promotion rival Stevenage. Huddersfield's playoff hopes are all but over after drawing with Wickham. The visitors equalised in the 101st minute in that one. Doncaster are edging away from the relegation zone with a 1-0 win against Reading, and Mansfield are still in a battle to avoid the drop after losing to Wigan. In Chesterfield hold the final playoff spot in League Two after drawing with Tranmere, and Harrogate are bottom of the Football League, 4 points from safety after losing at Newport. Well, should Harrogate fall out the Football League, York City are primed to replace them. The Minstermen are top of the National League with just 2 games to go. Their win over Tanmouth means they are 2 points clear with 2 games to go and could be promoted on Saturday. So exciting times ahead there for York.
Very exciting, yes.
We'll
wait and see what happens with that one, thank you.
Thanks, Arif. Now the longer, warmer days are upon us. Yay! A much welcome step away from winter, but also one step closer to itchy eyes and streaming noses.
And those who suffer from the effects of pollen may have been scratching their heads as well as this year, as the sniffles started much earlier, didn't they?
It seems that a warming climate may be having an impact on when our trees and plants produce their pollen and how long it stays around for.
The ITV pollen count has started today, so Kerry has been spending time looking into it.
The bees are busy bustling between the spring blooms, and maybe your first sniffles of the season have already started. About a quarter of people in the UK get hay fever, but flowers like these, that rely on insects for pollination, are usually not to blame. It's the fine powder that's carried in the wind that has the biggest impact. These airborne types of pollen are broken up into different seasons. The tree pollen starts being released early in the year in February, before grass pollen, the cause of most hay fever, kicks in around mid to late May. After that, it's up to the weed pollen to take us into early autumn. But nature's calendar is shifting, and it can be easy and sometimes colourful to spot.
After the mild and wet winter, trees have been blooming across the region for weeks now, in what's set to be a bumper year for both pollen and spring flowers. It's beautiful to see, but maybe not great for hay fever sufferers. And with our warming climate, the pollen season seems to be extending. And that means we're experiencing pollen and its impact sooner and later than we used to.
The earlier starts to spring is something that has been noticed by the Royal Horticultural Society.
These birch tree catkins, they're the male flowers, and they've released great clouds of pollen when they're warm enough and the wind shakes them.
Well, this season's been a little early. It started very early in December, then we had a cold spell in January that set everything back, but since then it's been, on the whole, relatively mild. So we're a week or two ahead of where we normally are in terms of grass growing, hedges sprouting and flowers coming out.
Scientists monitoring nature in recent years, combined with wildlife records dating back centuries, show this early burst of pollen is not unique to this spring.
There's research that's been done into how different types of pollen are being impacted by climate change. The research has shown that for some types of pollen, for example oak and grass pollen, the season's actually becoming earlier, but also birch pollen season is becoming more severe. So hay fever sufferers could be seeing their symptoms appearing earlier in the year, and they could be seeing those symptoms for longer periods of time as well.
So if you've noticed your sneezing started earlier this year, you're certainly not alone. Pollen season is well underway. The good news is that daily pollen forecasts can help allergy sufferers plan ahead, whether that means keeping windows closed on high count days or making sure your medication is ready when the levels start to rise.
Yeah, I feel itchy already.
Yeah, itchy eyes, itchy nose. Let's go to Nick for the weather forecast.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello. It was a weekend of dodging the downpours, those April showers, busy skies. Thanks for all of your photos. And this, a glorious view of the bottom of a rainbow over Leeds on Saturday in the storm cloud. In fact, just to pick out, it's a double rainbow. And the spring flowers wouldn't have appreciated the hailstorms around yesterday. This one at Thorn, fairly sizable hail. And the clouds have built up again today after a gloriously sunny morning. There are a few showers out there again to end the day, though not all of us are seeing them. They'll continue to rumble around with maybe a rumble of thunder and some hail over the next few hours, tracking northwards away from the Pennines. And then for the second half of the night, it's looking dry, clear skies, not quite as cold as it was last night, though still maybe a touch of frost, some fog patches, especially in North Yorkshire. Here are your sun times for tomorrow. Almost 14 hours of daylight now and sunset after 8 p.m. Now, a different day to come tomorrow. We'll start with plenty of sunshine, but it's not showers breaking out. There's a weak weather front heading in from the west, gradually clouding over, a bit of patchy rain, especially into Pennine areas later on in the afternoon. Further east you are, you'll stay sunniest for longest. The breeze starts to pick up, but feeling a little bit warmer tomorrow. Highs maybe up to around 16 degrees Celsius or so. So a few spots of rain to end the day tomorrow. Overnight, we'll see some more widespread outbreaks of rain. Then another weather front heading through on Wednesday. That'll zip on through, and behind that, later in the week, it turns quieter once again. A few sunny spells. Notice it warming up as well. It'll feel pleasant in the sunshine, though still the potential later this week for one or two of those April showers out there. That's your weather.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
I believe it's going to be so hot tomorrow.
That's great, isn't it? Good news, that is. Very
Really
much
good
so.
news, yes.
I'll be back at 10 to 11 with our late bulletin.
Thank you very much for watching. Mary is next, and Ian will see you later. I'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good evening. Good night.